did the presentation in form of Minecraft video.
Once upon a time, in a land named North Craftia, there was a guy named Steve. Steve lived in a cabin in the woods with his dog named Rex. They loved to swim, so one day they took a walk to the lake. They realized that the lake was green and slimy and covered with algal blooms, and the beach was covered in garbage. The pollution and algal blooms made them very sad.
Steve decided to go on a mission to discover why the water was green. As he traveled along Dry Creek, which emptied into the lake, he came upon a farm. The farm fields were right next to the creek. Some of the farmers would put too much manure on the fields, so when it rained, it would run off into the lake, polluting it with fertilizers and manure. They asked, "Why is the water so green?" He said, "I know why the water is green." Steve listened closely as the farmer talked about phosphorus that was entering the lake from different sources, including human waste from wastewater treatment plants and septic systems, animal waste, industrial waste, decomposing organic matter, and human disturbing the land. If there is too much phosphorus, the man continued, the green slime called algal blooms in the lake grows very large in warm summer months because algal blooms love phosphorus. Toxins from the algal bloom, especially microinvertebrates, can be released, cause humans and animals get very sick or even die. There is too much phosphorus in the water. That is why the water is green.
Steve knew something had to be done to take the green out of the lake. He had heard of a group of young people at a school who really cared about the future of their beautiful lake. He wondered if they would be able to help him solve the problem. After all, they were testing at Dry Creek, which was a waterway that emptied into the lake, and he knew they believed in the future of their environment. He found the students were just getting off their school bus at North Craftia Nature Trails Park, and he joined on their trek to Dry Creek. After the students tested the water for various things, the students invited Steve to their water mansion to explain their findings. Each room was an exhibit of all the different results the students had found.
We tested for temperature. It was 14.5 degrees Celsius. It was our first time out here, so we didn't get a chance to go a mile up the road to see if there were temperature differences. If we had been able to do that, we might have found out if there was any thermal pollution. What we do know is that the water temperature has to be in a certain range for organisms to thrive. Our water temperature is good for organisms to thrive.
But I don't see any fish or anything.
That's because temperature is just one of the factors we look at when determining the health of the water.
pH was 7.5 and a Q value.
Is a pH of 7.5 pretty good?
Yes, a Q value of 91 is an excellent range. The pH shows us if water is more toward an acid or a base. This is important because if the water is too basic or too acid, it will be unsafe for us.
If the pH was good, then again, why are we fighting the organism?
We were wondering the same thing. We think that we either don't collect our macroinvertebrates correctly, or there is some other factor that is limiting the growth of these factors.
Steve thanked the students who had given him the temperature and pH information. Move on to the next exhibit in the water mansion.
Hi there, Steve. We tested for dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen enters the water by direct absorption from the atmosphere, by rapid movement, or as waste product of photosynthesis.
What did you all find out about dissolved oxygen in Dry Creek?
We found that the dissolved oxygen in Dry Creek was pretty good. There was 8.69 milligrams of dissolved oxygen per liter of water, which gave us a Q value of 88. We were happy to know that there is enough oxygen for most aquatic organisms.
That's good to know. And what about nitrogen?
Nitrooxygen is an element necessary to all living plants and animals for building protein. N2 makes up 79% of the air. Sewage is the main source of nitrates added to rivers.
So, what did you find out about Dry Creek? Did it have too much nitrates in it?
Well, we found out that our nitrate levels were 0.25 per liter, and our Q value was 98, so that's really good.
And what about total dissolved solid?
Unfortunately, it seems that Dry Creek isn't so clear. We used a conductivity meter and correlation factor of 0.67 to derive the total dissolved solids. We found that there were 708 milligrams of total dissolved solids per liter, which gave us a Q value of 20.
Not so good. What are the consequences of it?
Fecal coliform is found in the feces of humans and other warm-blooded animals. It naturally happens in the digestive tract and helps in the digestion of food. The bacteria is not pathogen most of the time, but some of the bacteria can be E. coli, which can make people very sick.
Okay, I hate to ask. Did your fecal coliform findings have good Q value?
It wasn't the best, and it wasn't the worst. We took 3 different samples from Dry Creek and put it in the petrophone. When the bacteria grew in the incubator, we counted and averaged out the results. We found out that there was 433 colonies in every 100 milliliters of water, which gave us a Q value of 28. Clearly, finding a way to reduce these potentially harmful bacteria is something our community needs to work on.
Cool, that's good to know. What about phosphorus? Was there a problem with that?
Our total phosphates were 10 parts per liter, which gave us a Q value of 5 out of 100. Although we might need to test again, our initial findings show high levels of phosphorus. Those algal blooms are having a heyday with the abundance of this nutrient.
Oh, we were able to collect data on 6 factors for water quality. The overall water quality index was 58, which means that water quality is at a medium level. We feel that if we improve turtle solids in the water and reduce the amount of phosphorus, this would be a step in that direction.
Steve walked away learning an important lesson about water quality. Steve learned about phosphorus, nitrates, conductivity, dissolved oxygen, temperature, fecal coliform, and pH. He walked back to his home with Rex and thought about how they could change the water in the lake to make it better quality.
He knew that the students had a lot of work to do to make Dry Creek clean, but these kids had heart. They cared about the environment, so he knew that in years to come, Dry Creek and the land along it would be cared for by these kids who would one day be adults, who would go on to make a positive impact on water quality in the community.